Okay, today we're going to work on the single stick. We're going to work on locking techniques. You're going to learn a couple different techniques with the stick on how to use this for joint manipulation. And let's get on with that. So the first one is, first thing to remember is that this is not a part of a combative or self-defense program. It's just merely an element of it, and a critical element nonetheless. So we'll start out with a subject will grab the stick on any position, and you just want to put your fingers like such, slide up the stick there, so that you can get a hold of his hand. And what happens here is when I slide my hand up, it locks his hand in place. Go ahead and pull your hand out. Very difficult for him to do that. So as he grabs the stick, reach up with the fingers, slide it up, okay, grasp, and then take the stick towards his center line, getting a 90-degree bend in his wrist, just like a joint lock. Slide the other hand down here, and then lock him down, and he will end up into that ground position. That is one stick locking position. Secondly, he grabs with the other side there. Same thing goes. We're going to slide down here and then lock up into this position, locking him down. So let's go to the left or to the right. All right, and slide, lock, and then to the left, slide and lock. Okay. All right. Next, that's one technique. It's from the cross wrist grab, right to right, and then the straight wrist grab, which is his left to my right. So if he grabs the stick on the inside of that, for instance, then we have to use a reverse grip. He can come over this way. Okay. So if he grabs the outside of the stick, we slide down up over the top. If he grabs the inside of the stick, we slide up and over to the top. Okay, like such. All right. This is designed to create that 90-degree bend in its wrist. In addition to that, from the cross wrist grab position, it's designed to come up in here and lock, and from the straight wrist grab position, it's designed to come here and lock. So I'll go over those two locks and show you how they compare with a stick. So if I'm using a stick, and he grabs that with his right hand, and I come to the outside, this is all the farther I need to be. Notice the position of my elbow to his elbow creates a perfect triangle right there, and that's the position that we're at. Straight wrist on the outside part of it, same thing goes, my elbow matches his elbow. Okay, if my elbow is here, it isn't quite right. It's too wide of a pyramid base. If we come straight in, then we've got it just right. If he grabs to the inside again, we can pull that, sliding this up, and then lock them the same way. Now, if we use the empty hand version of that, and I come here, this is okay. Now the reversal to that is he's going to take his left hand, he's going to cup that and push right there. Now I can't take him down, okay, and I have no leverage. And he simply turns his right hand forward, like he's driving a motorcycle, and now he's reversed that lock on me. So from that reverse lock, if I have him in this grab, and at this point he stops it, okay, then I must also stop it in this position, and now we've canceled each other out. Okay, and so there's reversals to these techniques. Now, to combat his ability to negate this lock, it's the same as if I have a stick in my hand. So if I come over here and he stops that movement, if I use a point of leverage, if I close this triangle off and bring my left elbow up over the top, then I've got leverage. And we'll do this from the other side here so that you can see. Okay. So from that cross wrist grab, he grabs that and he stops, does a stop position. And I bring my elbow up over the top and keep my left wrist bent. And I let this rotate around, okay, and bend my wrist like this. Then I'm into the position. Keep pushing. I can still get that lock in because I've closed the base of that triangle off. Okay, likewise, if I'm in this position and he stops that position, okay, stop it, cup your hand there. So what he's done is he's put his hand just like this and he's keeping his fingers down, and now I can't get him into that position. Yet I can't use my elbow And so what happens is when I'm coming around, if he starts to grab that, then I'm sliding the right hand and I'm grabbing this part of his arm right here, okay? And the left hand will grab his wrist, or his fingers, and then while I do that, I'm pulling his pinky finger over, like this. So there's joint locks and then there's real joint locks. I think 90% of the people out there don't do real joint locks. They do what we call bullshit. It doesn't work. Okay. They really don't understand what it is they're doing. So from that position where he starts to stop it, I grab to the outside now, because I'm grabbing this part. I pull my right arm down like I'm going forward with the motorcycle as I pull my left hand down. So both my hands are doing this type of motion. Again, I'm coming over the web. My hand webs open and comes in for the grab here on the other side of his hand. My left hand grabs this, pulls his pinky finger over. Okay. The farther you're out in the fingers, the more control. I prefer down here on the knuckle part of the hand to come here, the knuckle part of the hand with my middle finger and my thumb, and then pull his pinky over. As I pull up with my middle finger here, his pinky raises a little bit, and then I squeeze that in. As this comes here, and then I do that twisting motion. Now I have the same type of lock, and he hasn't been able to negate it. If I just go like this and he stops that, I'm kind of in trouble. So I have to pass that or whatever, and it requires more movement. However, if I'm into this position and he stops it, when we twist, we still end up into the right position, okay, to be able to counter and break. Okay, so the same thing goes with the stick. The next class we're going to be dealing with the locking and tangling of the arms. It's used by police with the PR-24 and the nightstick. Knock offers a class on that, and I think you have to be law enforcement to get it. And we're not going to learn about the proper application, but I'll demonstrate it, but I won't necessarily teach it. So if I'm here and I need a subject to go down, and remember, I'm a civilian, not a law enforcement officer. I'm a civilian, but nonetheless, if I feel a threat and I have a weapon, I will definitely use that weapon. So if I'm here, I'm going to come in and hit here. That's going to bring his height zone down. I might even raise him back up with a strike like this. So I might hit, raise him down, up with the strike, and then take the long part of the weapon and shove that through, up underneath his arm and lock it over. At this position here, I can grab the top of it and take him down with an arm bar, okay? Or I can do a compression lock, where I'm letting go with my left hand, coming up over the top, and squeezing those together, okay? And giving him a command. Get on your knees, sir. Boom, okay? And put your hands behind your back, whatever. So it's a good idea, if you've read our master template, to carry restraint devices. I don't recommend carrying around handcuffs, but if you're a civilian, need to perform a civilian's arrest, or if you're in the field and we are in an apocalyptic event and you have to survive, you're going to need to restrain people. So, having a restraint, such as a rope or twist ties or whatever to restrain that person, is a good idea. You'll learn about that later. So again, the lock is, I'm going to put his arm out here and let's turn it this angle so you can see better. Because this is just going to, technically when you hold in a screamer stick, you should have one hand down here at the very base, just covering the base. And then the right hand should come all the way down and meet that. And that's the length of space that you should have when you're holding in a screamer stick. Okay. Frankly, that's just their rule. I don't care about anybody's rules. I do what I think is comfortable for me. So I hold my stick up a little bit higher, and I use the back end of that for other purposes. The benefit of having just a little space, it's easier to control and guide that weapon when we're striking. With an empty hand, your forearm movement, same thing goes. You're hitting here, yet you're securing that weapon. If there's no brace underneath this weapon and you're striking with it like this, it tends to get kind of where it'll move around a lot. So I don't really like that. I'd rather bring that straight in and then use that in this position for locking maneuvers or whatnot. So anyway, the reason to describe that is so that you know where to hold that stick, and it's not all that important. So you're going to slide this all the way through, okay, and not to this position where your arm's on the outside. You want this part of your wrist underneath the arm there. Okay, there's a chance that he's going to pull out of this at this point, but if I switch his position, I pull out. Much more difficult. If he's up a little bit higher, he can pull that out. Okay, and I can switch it back down. All right, there's a lot of things we can do there. If he's gotten too far and he's really pulled out, we can raise that up. Okay, and preventing him from pulling that out and going to different locking maneuvers or whatever. So just for right now, your technique is to slide through, hook it up on top, put the other hand here, okay, and then just locking him down and giving him a command. Get on your knees. Okay, so I'm going to pull him out and spread him out and then go for a restrain or disable or a lethal blow. That's technique number 3. Technique number 1 is from the outside grab, slide the hand up over the top. Here, I would do the same thing. I would say, get on all fours, lay on your stomach, you know what I mean? And I would get him to do that. There's going to be times that I'm in this position and he may lock out his arm. So if he locks that arm out, and all we do is we take this stick and we push it this way and go through and lock him back up. Okay, so no worries about that. You'll learn more about that later as far as the reversals to it. So again, up underneath, on top. We'll grab over the top. We'll grab to the outside, slide it up over the top. And we'll grab to the inside, slide the left hand up over the top. And that is your 3 stick techniques for today. We'll see you on the next class.